welcome you all to today's webinar on Matter, Future of Device Interoperability for the Smart World. Very soon, in a few minutes from now, we shall be beginning with today's session. Our expert, Mr. Vijay Anand, sir, Senior Director, Technology and Chief IoT Architect at Cape Gemini, Texas, USA, has already joined us. Within a few minutes, we shall be beginning with today's webinar. I request all the participants who have just joined us to kindly ensure that they can access the chat window, which is an important mechanism through which we shall be communicating with all our participants during this webinar. So any questions you have from the expert for the session, kindly write the same on the chat window. I shall facilitate you by discussing them with our expert at the end of the session. Further, a feedback form link for your certificate of participation generation. Yes, dear participants, a feedback form link for your certificate of participation generation shall be shared with all the participants towards the end of this session in the chat window. So kindly ensure whatever devices you're connected with us through for today's webinar, you can access the chat window on the same. Few minutes to go, and we shall be beginning with the session. Good evening, Harjinder Singh sir. Welcome to the session. I would say a few more seconds to go now, and we would be beginning with the session.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you.
Sir, can we start with the session?
Yeah, Dr. Ritika, please start.
Thank you, sir. A very pleasant evening to all distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management, BVI CAM, in association with Computational Intelligence Society, CIS chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Computer Society CS chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Technology and Engineering Management Society, TEMS chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System Man and Cybernetics SMC Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Communication Society of IEEE Delhi section, Consultants Network Affinity CNA Group of IEEE Delhi section, Life Member Affinity LMA Group of IEEE Delhi section, Inter-Society Relations IRS Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, Industry Relation and Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology Site Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, Region 10 of IEEE with the Associations of Computer Society of India, CSI, Institute of Information Technology Professionals, IITP, ISTE Delhi section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborators. Welcome you all to the IEEE IETE BVI CAM technical lecture series on Matter, Future of Device Interoperability for the Smart World. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hands, mark special contribution for the monumental occasions Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence, as well as contribute our bit in seeking to find practical global solutions for the benefit of all. The aim of India during its G20 presidency tenure in 2023. This webinar today is an initiative to mark both these monumentous occasions, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, as well as our G20 presidency. According to Kirsi Pinja, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Finland, in broadband, 4G, 5G, and beyond, there is a big opportunity to rethink the information-centric way of working. The limiting factor is not the technology, but the culture bound with heritage. This simple quote indicates the massive transformation in store of the so-called smart world we are all moving into. Fourth industrial revolution, facilitated by the emerging technologies like edge and 5G, is impacting the existing manufacturing, industrial, and transportation processes multidimensionally. This webinar aims to understand important issues like current challenges in smart home market segment, why matter for service providers, OEMs, and end users, how matter works, extended connectivity with bridge, multi-factory concept, killer use cases, SOCs considered, products available in the market, matter plus edge analytics, etc. The webinar aims to discuss various aspects of device interoperability also. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for the day. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I would first request Professor M.N. Huda sir, Director, Bharati Vidyapeeth's Institute of Computer Applications and Management, BVI CAM, and Executive Vice Chairperson, IEEE Delhi Section, to address the participants with his inspiring words.
Am I audible, Dr. Ritika?
Yes, sir.
So good evening, one and all. At the outset, let me take this opportunity to pay my gratitude and sincere thanks to my friend Mr. Vijay Anand, who himself has volunteered for this particular lecture because of his passion for sharing knowledge with all of us. So thank you so much, Mr. Vijay, for having agreed and ready here to deliver your knowledge, to disseminate your knowledge with all of us. I also take this opportunity to express my gratitude towards all my friends from various professional societies who have collaborated with us for this particular lecture series right from June 2020, 3 years of which we have already completed. And this is 133rd edition of that particular lecture series, which was started in the backdrop of COVID-19 way back in June 2020. Dear friends, the today's topic is matter. Matter primarily must matter. That is what is the objective today. So matter, future of device interoperability for a smart world. In fact, the way Industrial Revolution 4.0 and now Industrial Revolution 5.0 is going to revolutionize everything in and around us, we are supposed to take care of both the hardware interoperability as well as the software interoperability. And if we do not take care of all these interoperability aspects, probably will become handicapped, despite the fact that we'll be having almost all type of softwares and all possible hardwares. So today's topic is very important to understand how overall automation and particularly the smart home automation need to take care of the matter, the device interoperability. So I wish that today's session, if all of you attend it with your attention, with your too much of passion, probably will help us to understand that to which extent this is important and why we should take care of all this. So thank you so much. I also would like to express my gratitude to all the participants who keep on attending our webinars from different parts of the country, and my friends, very, very senior friends amongst the attendees as well. Thank you so much. There are few more webinars which are open for registration. Do register for them and keep attending it. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best. God bless you all. Keep learning despite disruptions in and around us, and keep disseminating message, keep disseminating information to all your friends, all your colleagues, if you are teacher or your students as well. Over to you, Dr. Ritika, please.
Thank you, sir. I would now welcome amongst us Mr. Vijay Anand sir with an e-bouquet. Welcome to the webinar, sir. Mr. Vijay Anand sir is a Senior Director and Chief IoT Architect in Cape Gemini, based in Texas, USA. He plays a strategic leadership role in building connected IoT solutions that mastermind technology direction and innovation for various market segments covering consumer and industrial IoT. With over 3 decades of experience, sir has published over 20 research papers at various wireless international conferences and has been engaged with many research and development institutions. He has been the author for the best paper and outstanding award-winning articles at IEEE international conferences and has also been an active keynote speaker and has chaired several technical sessions in various international conferences. He is also pursuing his PhD. We are honored to have you amongst us, sir, today. I would now request you to kindly enlighten the House.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am. Thanks, Dr. Huda. Thanks, Ajay, for providing an opportunity to be part of this wonderful session. Much appreciated. And so the intent of this topic is to provide awareness to the various audience who would be focusing on doing a lot of research in the consumer market segment, specifically using the IoT devices, the gateway, the Wi-Fi router. And the intent is to come forward and share what is happening in the industry and how some of these elements needs to be considered in terms of building the futuristic solution. So that's the aspect being considered for this session. I'll just walk through the content what I would like to present today, so that you guys get some more
Sir,
additional
please
insights.
share your PPT once again. Sorry to
Oh.
interrupt, but please share your PPT once again.
One second. Can you see, ma'am, my PPT?
Yes, sir. It is low. Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay.
So you can put it in slideshow mode. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, ma'am. So,
Vijay, Vijay, your video is gone. If possible, if you can also come on video, it will be
sure,
good for
okay.
participants. Yeah, thanks. About the time.
One second.
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay. So the agenda which I plan to cover in this specific topic is to give a view of what are the major challenges that we come across in today's smart home ecosystem, and how this matter is trying to address the problems being foreseen today. That's the key element which I would like to provide a view, so that the audience understands how the market is evolving, the standard, how the standard is trying to address some of the major challenges. And in the second module, I'll try to cover how this whole technology works, and how the extended connectivity being considered using Matter in terms of taking with the various other short range technologies also. And in the third module, I'll try to bring out the various applications use cases are typically being considered for not only the smart home ecosystem, also for the other market segments as well. And that this will potentially give a view of how the whole matter standard is evolving largely, and what are the various devices which are also being available in the market today, or also going to come in the market today, that will give a complete view of the end-to-end the system design being considered for enabling matter. So if you see from an a smart home ecosystem perspective, today users, while the users are connected with phones, tabs, desktops, smart TVs, however, the devices connectivity or the portfolio is expanding so largely, where users would like to even get connected with additional devices as well. The additional devices could be for security, or it could be for safety, or it could be for convenience, right? So there are different needs which today every end user not would like to have it in the smart home ecosystem. While we are largely connected with the smart TVs for media entertainment speakers, but what is more bothering for every end users to see that how do I take care of my safety for my family members, and what are the additional devices that will be needed in order to bring out some level of safety, and also how do we have some more convenience as well, right, for a different application needs. Today, users are not looking at only few devices. Today, users are expecting to have multiple devices connected within the smart home system, which also covers the thermostat. It also covers the door locks, the video bells, and then the lightning solutions, and then the other flavors of devices like a water leakage sensors, a glass break sensors, a fire alarms, so multiple devices, which are typically being considered in terms of handling the overall smart home ecosystem. So today, at any point of time, if you look at it, an individual user would like to have connectivity of a minimum 10 to 15 devices. That's the way, right? And the requirements and the expectation has been for every end users, and accordingly, the market is also evolving. So now, what is a problem statement? The problem statement is on two folds, right? The first problem statement is that there are different devices which are available in the market today from different OEMs. So there are the devices available from Philips, there are devices available from TP-Link, and user would like to buy some of these products which might be low cost, and that will meet his application requirement as well. Let's take a simple scenario that a user would like to have a video doorbell or a simple door lock where he opens the door and then the lightning has to be activated. So the doorbell could be from Yali, and then the lightning device could be from Philips, or it could be from UJoy, or it could be from Nanoleaf. There are multiple OEMs who are there in the market today. These devices are available at certain low cost, and it also fulfills the need of the any end user. So he tries to buy the device, and if he wants to interconnect these two devices from these two manufacturers today, in the current ecosystem, it is not possible because the user will not know what technology being used in the doorbell and what technology being used in the lightning solution, how these two devices can interconnect each other. So obviously, he has to have two different applications from his mobile phone in terms of communicating with these devices, and it is hard for him to even pair these two devices, stating that okay, when my door is open, the trigger have to go to the lightning solution, the lightning have to be activated, which is very difficult scenario. Right, with the kind of the products which are there in the market. While it meets a requirement, but he has to struggle a lot to interconnect these two devices. The problem statement, if you look at it, many devices today are coming with different technologies. Most of the devices today you see are all Wi-Fi, and some devices are based on thread technology, which is also again a short range radio technology, typically powered with a battery. And you have other flavors of devices like Zigbee, Z-Wave. So there are different technologies which are largely being used in the smart home ecosystem, and always a user would not have such a great awareness of what technology being used, how to connect these devices. So two problem statements. One problem statement, how OEM devices can talk and interconnect each other. The other flavor of devices is about how two technologies can also communicate each other. This is what the problem statement we largely foresee today in the consumer in the market, in the consumer market, or in the smart home market, how we look at it. So the way the matter is trying to bring out is to have a software residing on various end devices in order to address the interoperability. So Matter as a standard got launched last year in September, October. Previously, it was called as CHIP, Connected Home over IP. Then it was renamed as Matter, and then there was a forum being formed to see that how a standard can be provided in the market space so that the user can follow the standard in order to basically address the interoperability and the problem statements that we foresee today in this ecosystem. So Matter was launched last year, and every OEM started looking at the standard to see that how they could enable software on their end devices. So today, if you see the devices space which are there, all the end devices like motion sensor, or it is a smart switch or a dimmable switch, or it could be door sensor, window sensor, many of these products today are all getting enabled with the Matter. And there is a certification process also being followed by the forum in order to make it certified so that it's a proven solution, right, which is available in the market. So Matter as a software will reside on end devices, and then the Matter software will also reside on the home gateway, or it could be an Wi-Fi access point, or it could be a router. That would be the other entity, and then the application will also have an element of having connectivity with the Matter devices as well. So today, and also the voice-based assistant devices like Alexa or Google Home are all getting enabled with the Matter today. So any device that you see in the home, okay, will all be connected via Matter protocol. That potentially helps to address interoperability between the various technologies as well as the various OEM devices. So that's the way, right? The ecosystem is evolving. Even the service providers who are manufacturing their routers, they provide an internet connectivity for all the end users. Even the routers are all getting enabled with the Matter. So you will not leave any devices inside the home, any equipment or the home appliances or the devices you would be able to see in the upcoming market will all be certified and enabled with the Matter. That potentially helps to interconnect all the devices which would come from any manufacturers. That provides a seamless way of interconnecting all the devices. So that's the the way the market is evolving. So Matter is mostly like an application layer protocol that will reside in these devices, and the technologies like Bluetooth are typically being used for onboarding the devices. Obviously, when you buy any new device, you have to onboard the device. When the screen is, you guys
So you
could
will
see.
have to reshare. The PPT is gone. You will have to reshare. Yes, sir.
So if you look at the technologies which are largely being used, I know for Matter, Bluetooth is the primary radio being used for onboarding the devices. So when you buy a new device, so you have to scan the QR code or pass the QR code in order to communicate with the devices to ensure that that the devices gets authenticated, and then user onboards the device. Then later on, he would be able to communicate with any of the technologies, which would be a Wi-Fi a radio, or it could be a thread radio. So the devices that are available in the market today, it's either based on Wi-Fi or it is based on thread, and any devices which also connects with the Zigbee radio, where there will be a Zigbee gateway available. In order to extend the connectivity further with some of the other technologies like Zigbee or Z-Wave, what Matter standard does is that you have to create a bridge layer. By having a bridge layer on some of those devices, you will be able to extend the connectivity beyond Wi-Fi and thread. So the way the whole market is evolving with this standard is to have a software residing on all these end devices, typically that we will use in our smart home for realizing different applications and different use cases as well. And the technologies which you will able to have a communication would be Wi-Fi, thread, Zigbee, and the Bluetooth as a media in terms of provisioning the devices, or basically used for onboarding devices for a short while, and then the rest of the the core operations in terms of monetizing the data, or controlling the devices will all happen via the respective technologies, which will be your Wi-Fi and the thread. So how Matter works? Matter as an ecosystem, if you see like various devices like a thermostat, door locks, bulbs, any devices you take, it all will be enabled with the Matter. And that's one part of the flavors that you see on the Wi-Fi. Similarly, on the other flavors of devices would be the thread devices. Some of the devices which needs to operate based on battery, where you need to consume the energy for a longer duration. Then for those devices, thread network would be an way to handle the device's functionality. So these are the two technologies typically being used for having communication between the Wi-Fi devices and the thread devices, and Bluetooth is the media typically being used for onboarding as well as the provisioning the devices. This is one part. And the Matter standard not only just talk only for some of these flavors, the Matter standard also talks about enabling it for the video devices as well. Even if you take TV, the TVs are going to be enabled with the Matter. So there is a TV which has already been launched by LG. The first TV which is being certified by Matter, it's available in the market today in US. Likewise, the other flavors of devices, if you look at cameras or the video players, the voice assistant devices are already enabled with Matter, like Alexa, Google Home are all enabled with Matter already. So the connectivity that you see from any devices today, it's all going to be enabled with Matter. And with Matter, the advantage what you will see is that like you don't need to keep two boxes, right? One box for the gateway and then another box for the router. The router, along with the Matter compatibility, will be looking at some one unified box, which will help you to interconnect, all these flavors of devices. Which on top of it, the advantages what you'll have is to ensure how do you handle the overall data security, because security is one of the other element which always comes into picture to see that how do you handle the elements of handling the communication between different devices. So that would be one part where the security parts will also be taken care largely, and then able to manage and monetize the whole ecosystem with one centralized element which you will do it on the router or on the gateway, and which also perhaps helps to address the other challenges in terms of handling the latency as well as the quality of service. So if you see from one single box, um, you know, um, so if you look at it from one single element of the ecosystem, the Matter software will reside on the end devices. Wherever you see the logo for each and every end devices, and the software will be residing on all these end devices, and not only for the IoT devices, it's also for the media entertainment devices. Similarly, the Matter software will also be residing on your gateway, which will function either as a controller or it could function only as a commissioner, which I will talk about it. And then you will also have the software residing on your mobile application. So all the three entities that you typically look at it will all be communicating via the Matter protocol, which has been defined in the Matter standard. And accordingly, right, all the data communication potentially happens for onboarding as well as for controlling the devices. So if you go to CSA IoT forum, I'll also share the link. You will able to see various specifications and the various specifications which are available. And 1.2 is the latest specification which has been launched, and that will be able to help you understand the way, right, the things have been described for this for developing the Matter solution. So Matter typically is a software which will reside in some of these devices. So as I mentioned, if you look at this particular layer, right, the blue color box. So Matter is a software that will reside in the application layer, which will help, which basically further interface with the radios. That would be Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi and the thread, and also no, with the Zigbee technology as well. So Matter is an application layer software that will reside on all the endpoints, and in terms of having communication with other devices, the technologies what you will see in this scenario would be on these radios. I'm just parallelly responding some of the queries which is also getting posted. So Matter, the interesting part of the aspect is that like you can either have a software on your phone and then directly talk to the devices, or you can have a software running on your gateway, which is the most interesting part that you see from an ecosystem standpoint, where it will work like a Matter controller. So the Matter could be configured as a commissioner, where you want to just only onboard the devices and want to see and the various devices that are available in the network, which is one possible option. Or on top of it, you also want to control the devices, and then you can also create your software as a controller, so that you onboard the devices and then you understand what state the devices are currently in the particular position, and then you can change the state of those devices as well. So the matter software can be used for both the commissioner, and it can also be used for you can also use it for the controller as well. So just to give a quick snapshot of the devices which are coming out in the market today with the Matter certified. So if you see the devices which are there in Amazon, or the products from TP-Link, the products from Onways, Aquera, MuJoy, Eve, Yali. So many flavors of devices started getting launched in the market. It's all are Matter certified. So this slide will give a very classical example of how the interoperability is getting addressed, right? So you take the element of TP-Link and take the element of Orion, right? So you have TP-Link as one of the OEM, Orion is another OEM. Now, how do I communicate two different, how do I interlink, two different products that are coming from two different OEMs? So you activate your TP-Link switch where the command goes via Matter software, and then you are able to onboard your you are able to communicate with an Orient device via your gateway. Similarly, no, from any of this Wi-Fi so the Wi-Fi devices, how you are also able to communicate with the thread devices. For example, I have a motion sensor which works on thread radio. Now, how do I activate the Matter Wi-Fi device which is from Orion? So these two devices also you would able to you would be able to bring out an interoperability between the motion sensor as well as with the Orion sensor, Orion bulb as well. So you could able to get a view of how this how the ecosystems are getting expanded with multiple OEM devices and the multiple the mean to say with the two different technologies, how you are able to handle the interoperability. Like a door lock, you just the classical example which I was giving during the start of my talk. So when you press some keys on your door lock, you expect the lightning should be activated. So with this no matter standard, now you would able to handle the interoperability between a door lock which is based on thread radio and then the lightning device which is based on Wi-Fi. So you are able to seamlessly provide the connectivity between these two devices as well. So that's the way, right? You would see the now the element of communication that you could that you could establish between multiple OEM devices, and you will also be able to establish a connectivity between Wi-Fi to thread to Wi-Fi, and you can also extend the connectivity with the ZigBee or the Z-Way technologies via the bridge layer as well. So I hope you guys would have got the context of how this, the whole market is evolving today, with the Matter certified products getting launched, and how the user would be able to get the benefit of, creating smart services or core services for his own requirement in terms of, managing his own smart home ecosystem, either for the safety or for the convenience or whatever way, right? The applications and use cases have to be created or defined. So one of the part that I was talking about, the extended connectivity. So on the left hand side, if you see, there are different devices, which essentially communicates with a set of Wi-Fi network, with a set of thread network. So thread again, right? It's a short range radio which communicates within the distance of 10 meters. And you can also be able to form a overall mesh networking with the various thread devices as well. So this is one part of the ecosystem. Now, if I want to extend the connectivity with other set of devices, for example, I would have already had my own ZigBee gateway, and I would have had certain lightning solutions or a different devices which is already existing in the in my home network. So how do I bridge the connectivity between the new system that I want to form as well as with the existing system which is already there? So the way the market is evolving is to have a bridge connectivity with some of this existing systems. So if you see this diagram, you will see a thing called bridge. So Matter standard also talks about creating a bridge layer. which will essentially able to communicate with the matter protocols up to this particular gateway, and from there you are able to interconnect with the Zigbee technology, so that you are able to bring these devices into your matter network, and then you are able to extend the connectivity with the Wi-Fi and the thread devices which you have already created. So that's the way that you scale up the the devices ecosystem largely with the Matter standard as well. So otherwise, this particular entity will be working as a separate entity, and you need to have a separate application, and you need to have a different way of managing this ecosystem. Now, if you want to control the Zigbee Lightning devices with one of the thread key, door lock, now you would able to interconnect your thread devices with the Zigbee devices via the bridge layer. So that's a way you are able to scale up or extend the connectivity, okay, from one network to another network. And the question also comes into picture that, okay, I do have an extender. Okay, I have a Wi-Fi extender. I have a thread extender. How do I bring those extenders into my network? Yes, today with the Matter standard, which is evolving, the extenders can also be brought into the Matter network, and you would also be able to you would also be able to control those devices which are connected with the extender as well. Typically, some of the thread devices which works only within the 10 meters, you would have fixed those devices beyond 10 meters in a different locations, right? Obviously, those devices have to get connected with the extender, and how do you bring those devices into the Matter network via extender? Obviously, the extender should also be connected with the network as well. So that's the other angle, right? We may have to look at it from an extender standpoint. So on the left hand side, it's a new network that you are creating with the Wi-Fi devices, three devices, which can directly get associated with the gateway, or the respective mobile applications can also talk to the end devices directly. That's one part of the connectivity. The other part of connectivity, that there are devices which I already have, which is already working with a certain technology. Then how do we bridge those devices with the existing network and with the Matter? That is possible. So that's where the standard is evolving to a greater extent. There is another interesting concept in the Matter called multi-fabric. Quite interesting concept in the sense that assuming that you already now have a set of devices which are connected with a home gateway, which has been provided by one of the OEMs. So you already bought let's say your Philips gateway, and then you have associated some of the devices with the gateway. Now what's happening, like you are buying an LG TV. The LG TV is also a Matter certified device. So this particular TV has been kept in one of the a hall, or it could be located in one of the bedroom, where user would like to even control those devices from the TV as well. Right, instead of controlling from a mobile application that talks to the gateway and then consoles it. Okay, the user would like to control from the TV as well. So in this scenario, if you look at it, there are two fabrics. There is one fabric which you are associated with certain devices with one gateway. Now you are bringing in another fabric where you want to associate some of those devices or the same devices with that fabric as well. So this is an interesting concept which Matter standard is trying to bring it out, so that you bring many Matter controller software, and you would able to form a network with the concept called fabric, so that you are able to even connect with the devices which has already been associated with one of the fabric, and you are able to communicate with these devices via two fabrics. If one fabric is a controlling set of devices, the other fabric gets synchronized automatically, so that the other fabric knows like what is the status of those devices, and they are able to essentially manage the entire ecosystem. So that's another element of the enhancements being defined in the Matter standard, so that you are able to see all possible ways of connecting devices with the different flavors of products, right? Which would be available in the market. So question always comes like, I already have an Alexa, I can onboard with Alexa. Now, if I have an LG TV, how do I onboard, via LG TV or with any other, gateways, which could be from Samsung Smart Things or other products as well. The Matter standards trying to address all these, use cases, possible expectations from the end user to see that how the connectivity could also be, extended via the multi-fabric concept. So one device can communicate with the 5 Matter controllers. So that's a way, right? The kind of a design being considered from the standard standpoint. So the way the Matter things are evolving. So there are two parts. One, there is a standard. The other one is the open source. So there is a open source available from a forum called Chip Connected Home over IP. If you guys just Google GitHub Chip, you'll be able to see a open source. So that's a basic code available currently, and people take that open source, which has certain limited functionalities. And the expectation is to see that you take those modules from the open source and then look at the specification and see that how you want to enhance the solution for a specific business requirements or for a specific need in terms of building this the whole software altogether. So as I mentioned, the software will reside on the gateway, the software will reside on the end devices, and the software will also have it on the application for you to have a communication between app to the device directly or from an app to the gateway, which would be appropriate way of defining the interface, and then the gateway will talk to the end devices directly via Matter protocol. On this southbound interface, what you see, this will be based on the Matter protocol that communicates via your Wi-Fi and the thread, and the Bluetooth is the media just used only for provisioning the devices or onboarding the devices for a short while. So if you guys are interested to explore more on Matter, so you need to do two things. So one, you go to the open source, get access to the code, and you can take that code and build it onto a Raspberry Pi platform. And then you need to do certain changes in your Matter software in terms of communicating with some development kits which are available from Scilabs and Espressif. It's all $15-20 kind of end devices, development boards that are available. Using those devices, you can form the ecosystem, or you can also buy the commercial devices, work out a methodology in terms of how you can also communicate with the commercial devices as well. So you would be able to form an ecosystem based on the existing code which is already available, and that's a starting point for any research work or any development works, right? That people are looking at creating the Matter software. So the application part, if you look at it in terms of communicating with your home gateway or a Wi-Fi router, today standard doesn't talk about defining the interface between the app to the gateway. That's one of the area where every developers have to come with their own methodology to see that how the communication can be established with some standard protocols like COAP or MQTT. But otherwise, in terms of having communication between your gateway to the end devices, so that will be typically based on the Matter devices. Or if you want to control directly with the end devices, so all the OEMs provide their one application. You need to just download the app from an app store and then install it, and then you can talk to those end devices. The flavors of end devices every OEM provides, that are enabled with the Matter. And you can also use the voice-based assistant devices, even for onboarding the Matter devices, and you can also control by the voice-based assistant devices as well. So typically, if you look at it from an inclination standpoint, as I mentioned, the products which are coming out in the market today, it's all getting integrated as a one unified box. Router plus IoT or router plus Matter is the combination today. If you see, now the evolvement is happening. There are operators who have already launched some router products which are enabled with the Matter, and even the TVs that are coming out in the market today. So one of the product from LG. It's enabled with the Matter, and you can use TV in terms of basically you can use a TV as an immediate as a device in terms of connecting with the various other devices as well. So no products are coming out quite fast, and no, this market is evolving in a much rapid speed as well. So the advantage, what you always see, by having software getting integrated in one single box rather than keeping two boxes, one for router, one for a gateway for handling the matter. If you integrate as a one single element, it becomes a much more advantage. For users to have a seamless way of connecting different devices, and it also becomes a value proposition for an operators to have the Matter software enabled, so that any OEM devices the user would be buying from the market would essentially get connected with that particular router. So that's the value proposition that you'll also see from an operator standpoint. So it becomes a win-win for OEMs, it becomes a win-win for operators, and it also becomes a much better advantage for an users like us, where we don't need to worry about whether this device will talk to other device or whether this technology will communicate with other technology. All those problem statements largely are getting addressed with this Matter standard. So the chips that you typically see getting manufactured by different OEMs, there are many short range radios because of our Matter communication, right? What is more important is the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the thread. So the hardware is also quite important piece, right? That comes as a part of the devices ecosystem. So there are many players who are there in the market, not tries to provide a chipset, and using this chipset is what, right? The radios are getting developed. So one chip, will have support of all the three radios. That brings out a more compact way of creating a hardware design, and able to have a very small form factor, and then having a Matter software enabled onto the chip essentially becomes a very a thin device in terms of creating an ecosystem with some of this, the chipsets that you see in the market available today. So applications, as you could say, right, like Matter being a standard today, it's not only the home, it's also been looked at for the retail market segment. It's also looked at for the smart building ecosystem, wherever the devices largely needs to be used, whether it is door locks or water leakage sensors or a lightning solutions, air purifiers. So you will see more and more devices, which are being used for different applications, whether it is for tracking energy or you want to look at devices automation or asset tracking. Many such devices today, if you see, are largely needed for creating our own applications or the use cases. So Matter, it's typically becoming a de facto standard in terms of creating an end-to-end solution design for a different application requirements as well. So if you look at this particular device, a CASA device, the TP link, what you see on the right hand side. So this device is not just only the power socket. This device also provides the energy consumption that the user could also monitor. So it's a Matter enabled device along with the energy monitoring that potentially helps user to not just by using socket for on and off. You can also use it for energy monitoring feature element as well. So again, one of the point always comes into picture is the security. So if you look at the standard, there are a lot of enforcements given from a security standpoint. How do you handle the ways and means of onboarding the devices, and then how do you ensure the certifications are getting validated in a more appropriate way, so that the user onboards a right device and then able to ensure that there is not much security challenges right that you would have to foresee. So I'll not get into too much of details in this state, but the way the system works is that like any device that you buy from the market, there is a the certificate for that particular device, which will also be available in the Matter forum, which is a CSA IoT forum. When you try to onboard the devices, so the respective device, let's assume that you are trying to connect an IoT device, a Matter device with a gateway. The gateway will reach out to the CSA forum where you have a component called DCL, the Distributor Complaints Ledger, which will try to validate whether this is a Matter certified device or not. Only if it is a Matter certified device, it checks with a certain element from a certificate standpoint, ensure that okay, this is a valid device. Then only the gateway onboards that particular device into the Matter network. So there are several elements of the security mechanisms which has also been taken care as a part of the Matter standard to ensure that in terms of onboarding the device, also in terms of having a communication between device to device as well as a device to gateway. Many such aspects of security has also been has been taken care to a greater extent. So just thought of highlighting, because the question would also come like how the security parts has also been addressed from the Matter standard standpoint. So this is the way, right, the ecosystem has been designed. So obviously the trusted execution environment or the trusted platform module which will be there on all the endpoints is one of the core module that needs to be leveraged in terms of handling the ways and means of handling the data security and the device security. So one of the conceptual thoughts, if you look at it from a Matter standpoint, question comes into picture. I have so many devices getting connected. How do I monitor the devices? How the devices are getting connected? Whether there is a delay in getting connected? What is the latency? Whether the hardware platform of that particular device is functioning properly or not? Right, there would be multiple aspects, right? Always people look at it, and how do we even think from a predictive standpoint? In terms of ensuring that the devices are working properly, and then if some devices are not working, how do we look at it from a predictive way of analyzing the problem at the early stage, and then see that what quick resolution needs to be provided. So today, the thought process is just a thought process. The Matter standard doesn't talk about it. So idea is to see that if there is some analytics framework which is already available as a part of your home gateway, that's a endpoint, right, where you try to bring all the devices getting connected via Matter protocol. And if any data analytics or the network analytics, how the hardware is functioning, some of this information, if you want to extract, then you need to think about bringing out an analytics framework along with the Matter that should be able to give a higher preview of how this whole aspects of analytics can also be addressed largely. Because analytics, if you look at it, there are four ways of analytics that we always see. One is your hardware platform analytics, how my hardware is functioning, how much of CPU, how much of memory, how much of the CPU and memory, each and every processors it is consuming. That's one of the data we will always look at it. The second one is the network analytics, how my Wi-Fi network is functioning, how my thread network is functioning, how my Zigbee network is functioning. That's another analytics. Always we need to have the statistics. And then the devices analytics, how each and every devices are getting connected. And the other one is the security analytics. So there are four sorts of analytics. We always look at it, and all put together, you try to see how do you bring out a predictive way of looking at from an analytics standpoint. So how do we think of having a Matter software connecting with the analytics that should also be able to now think about creating an ecosystem in a much better way as well. So that's a thought process. If any of you guys are not doing research on analytics, you can also think about connecting analytics with the Matter. That could be a good combination of realizing a much better value add from a design standpoint. So just to give a view of right how yeah, software or a gateway could look like, covering all the radios. So today, one single unified box that I was talking about, which will essentially have a converged way of having your all the short range radios, fiber connectivity, as well as your long range radios as well. One single box inside the home takes care of providing your internet connectivity as well as providing your matter devices connectivity as well. Yeah, that's a summary. Just I want to bring it out that as a part of the session. So the approach we always look at it in a way to see that right. How do you have your matter software enabled on multiple end devices, and how do you interconnect all these devices in the form of an unified way. So you'll have your gateway running on your enabled with the matter, your devices enabled with the matter, and you can also have other sorts of a gateway which will also be enabled with the matter. So how do you able to interconnect all these devices and then have an application, a single application for the user in terms of monitoring and controlling the devices. So this will potentially help users to create a more and more smart services. It also helps operators to generate more revenues. It also expands the connectivity with other technologies like Zigbee and ZV, which might be an existing technology. How do you interconnect all these technologies put together into one common way, so that the fragmentation problem can be avoided, and you'd able to scale up the network with a more and more matter compliant devices. So that's a way you see the the overall element of the matter getting evolved in the consumer market ecosystem currently. Yeah, that's the the view of what we not plan to cover as a part of this session. So I'm open to questions if any of you guys have it.
Thank you, Vijay sir. It was a wonderful session where I have a lot of queries from the user, which are still there. So if you permit, I would start asking the questions one by one.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay. So first question we have, how far is India from enabling matter-enabled solutions? Because as a matter of fact, the country is still not completely 5G enabled.
So I think a matter standard it's not directly linked with the 5G technology as such. As I mentioned in the very first beginning, matter it's more about interconnecting devices within the home ecosystem or within the retail shop that works with the short range ranges, which is a Wi-Fi, Thread, and then Bluetooth. As long as the matter only leverages these technologies. 5G is not linked with the matter standard as such.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Next question we have, what would be the cost of implementing matter-enabled devices?
Matter-enabled devices, of course, right, it again depends upon, so what level of form factor, right, that you want to look at it. So these are the devices which are there in the market today, which been manufactured by various OEMs. So again, right, if you look at the cost of some of these devices, today from a dollar perspective, it's all about $20, $25 products. Only the logs that you look at it from some of the manufacturers around $200 higher price. But power sockets, bulbs, and then the door sensors, window sensors, whatever you see in the market today, it's not so high cost, I can say, but it's something of under $20-$25 price is what you will see in the market today.
Absolutely. So next question we have, would matter replace TCP/IP or interoperate and coexist with the same?
It will coexist with the same, because obviously all this Wi-Fi and the thread, right? It's all works on IP-based technology. So the communication, will typically happen with your IP network. So for an Wi-Fi devices, it will be IPv4. For the thread devices, it will be IPv6. So yes, so it's all the communication happens via your IP network.
So next question we have, please highlight how Matter could be applied into the agriculture sector.
So again, when you look at it from an agriculture standpoint, depends upon the kind of devices. So you might have some sort of soil measurement sensors or water circuit breakers. There could be multiple flavors of devices. That might be used in the that will be used in the smart agricultural market segment. So the way we have to look at the Matter technology or the devices is to see that from a connectivity standpoint, whether it is short range or a long range, that's where the selection of devices comes into picture. So while I'm trying to form a network, so what should be the maximum distance that I need to look at it, and what kind of devices that I'm going to use it. So the most important element I've been highlighting, right? Fragmentation of devices is quite higher. Okay, so while I try to buy some devices for my smart agriculture ecosystem, from which OEM I'm planning to buy the devices, and how I'm going to communicate that device with any other device, and what would make more relevant for me to select those devices so that my interoperability problem is typically getting addressed. So some of the sensors that we'll use for some smart agriculture, you want to communicate with one of the home gateway for having all the devices getting interconnected, whether my home gateway is Matter certified, whether my selection of devices is Matter certified. If both are Matter certified from different OEMs, then it makes it more easy for anyone to form an networking quite easily. I don't think today people are now trying to do larger devices manufacturing, because there are many OEMs today already there in the market who are building the products. But again, it again depends upon whether I choose the devices from the market or I want to manufacture on my own. It's a different scenario. But there are multiple flavors of products available. So we are mostly looking at from a plug and play perspective, that how fast, how quickly, right, the solution can be designed with the Matter getting enabled on some of these sensor products.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. The simplicity with which you have explained this, I would say, completely novel protocol called solution called Matter, has initiated the brain of many researchers that we have on this platform today. Huda sir is not present with us presently. Sir is caught in traveling. But thank you so much for this wonderful session. And I would request you to kindly accept this certificate of presentation from our side as a token of remembrance for this wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
And we are digitizing things, so please also accept this memento as a small token of appreciation from our side today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your support and providing an opportunity to be part of this session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for the wonderful session. So, dear participants,